Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Jeff Warren has a lot of experience in the industry, so I thought it'd be really great to hear from somebody who knows and can offer some insight into money and investing. And I know for us hairdressers, it can be like, oh, we're going to cloud over and it's going to be too much, but I think we need to talk about it. Without further ado, Jeff, maybe you could say a few words about yourself and what sort of the macro view, if you will, of investing right now.
I've been in it a long time. I started in financial services when I was 19 and I'm 58. You can do the math. It's a long time. I got in back when you didn't have to have 3 college degrees. Mine is all experience in the industry. And, you know, I've been fortunate enough to work in multiple disciplines and sectors of the industry. And I will say the greatest thing that's happened to me as a person aspiring, and I'm always aspiring, we have to keep getting better, or trying to, is that I've just been around a lot of wonderful people in the industry who have mentored me and really given me that strength and hope that you're talking about. As far as this market and where we're at, we are in an unknown territory, as they say. Unknown in that we started a path in 2008 after the financial crisis, where our central bank, the Fed, began intervening in the economy, and they did something that started a huge trend all over the world. They went to what they call zero interest rates. And the idea was we'd had a financial collapse, and you've got to get money out there. You got to get people borrowing money and doing things. And so the zero rate policy was good, right? We needed it for about a year, but we've had it for about 12 years. And so there's a lot of unintended consequences that come from that. And a lot of people, a lot of corporations borrow a lot of money that they probably shouldn't. Many people know about the term QE, or the government's printing money. You hear that terminology. And that's the Fed, and they're not printing money, but they kind of are. They're electronically buying trillions of dollars of US treasuries. And that creates more money supply. And the stock market loves this because it's like it just keeps the air in the tires all the time. So I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but we're at a place where investing is not as fundamental as it used to be. 2 plus 2 used to equal 4. We're having a lot of 2 plus 2 is 7. So anyway, the other thing is that we've had a lot of speculation over the last year since the market crash in March, and that's good. I mean, in a lot of ways, there's some people that have made a lot of money from that. But asset prices now, and we're seeing it everywhere, whether it's stocks, homes, whatever, they're pretty inflated at this point. So this is where I try to really help our clients understand what the actual risk is. Try to measure that risk versus what they might have known years gone past, because it's changed.
I mean, it's sometimes hard to think about saving when you just spent your savings on maybe trying to get through the pandemic, but also for those who, make minimum wage, what is the best case scenario for them to actually begin to save money? Like we talked about, we titled this sort of the opportunities that are all around us. What do you see as the opportunity for people at this moment?
One thing that I've learned is that, money is money, and it has its purposes. But at the end of the day, everybody's priorities are a little different.
You're right.
And so one of the ways to get some clarity about your priorities today, because our priorities are, a lot of times they're changing, right? So how do you do that, really hone in on your priorities, not the wish list in your mind. You got to inventory your finances. And the best thing really to do is to say, this is Jeff Warren Inc. here. And I need to inventory my business. And I need to inventory it carefully. So I really know what I have to work with. It's an exercise that brings most people that I go through it with some peace of mind, actually.
Yeah.
Because we've all got the horribilizer. When I think about finances, unfortunately, fear usually comes into play.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking about the future. And oh boy, I don't know what's going to happen. So, this exercise brings things more into reality.
Yes.
Here's reality. And from that is, where's the important avenues you want your money to go to? I've done this exercise myself. I do it frequently, actually. I always find that I'm spending money on something that's not my true priorities. And so this is why I think this is the beginning. It's the starting exercise.
Yes.
Of seeing where you are. And I know there are so many people that have been financially impaired or destroyed in this thing. And so, all the more reason to get on that exercise and talk to people about it. Not necessarily a financial advisor.
What is the recommended savings percentage for people?
The most common target or goal is retirement savings. That's typically the biggest goal for people. Nowadays, the people that are analyzing that are saying 12 to 15% of income. But I want to edit that a little bit. If you can only do 1%,
yes,
do 1%.
Right, right. Don't let it stop you. I think that's the theme here. Yeah. I think that's true.
That retirement has a lot of parts and pieces. There's Social Security. There's, how much, personal savings and potentially other, means. But and of course, there's a lot of goals everybody has. Maybe they have a goal to. They're not in a house and they want to get together a down payment, or maybe some education expenses if they want to go to the courts. Yeah, those like everything else, that's that's a priority. And if it's priority and important, then you've got to make it important by taking action. And what's the target? What do you need to do so you can really look at, well, what's it going to take?
Yes.
For me to do this.
Right.
I think that reality, understanding where you are in this moment,
yes, is
the best thing you can do for your financial life. Get that clarity. Because with that, you're going to be able to make those decisions better.
Jeff, I wanted to ask you your thoughts on health savings accounts.
I think health savings account is one of the best opportunities that has come out in a long time. As far as tax qualified savings, there's not anybody that couldn't benefit from being able to kind of rat hole that money for healthcare expenses that your insurance doesn't cover, or we all have a lot of different healthcare expenses that are just not, unless you have a group plan at a large corporation. All of us are out here kind of piecing it together. And so this health savings account, being able to put money in there without paying taxes
Tax
on
on
that
it.
money.
Right.
It's a great savings plan. There's no doubt about it. And the money can be invested. It's not like you're just putting it in some sort of a savings account paying 1% interest.
Is the idea to not spend that money, or is that, I mean, it's both to spend on expenses that insurance doesn't cover, but you can also invest some of it.
Yeah, spend it when you need it. People have all kinds of different experiences, but I've seen people who have over many years accumulated, quite a bit of money in their health savings account. I've seen people who accumulate as much as $70,000 in there, and they can take that into retirement with them if they haven't used it.
In terms of your particular firm, Secure Retirement, what distinguishes your firm, you think, from others?
Well, first, we're a small boutique firm. We have about 300 client families, but we're big enough that we would like to have take on more clients for sure. I guess as a company, registered investment advisors today are kind of a dime a dozen. There's a lot out there. They all have distinctive competency, let's just say. Our distinctive competency is really risk management, and that comes because of Richard and I's background. We both have a real long background in that. So what does that mean for our clients? It basically means we're trying to not get any of our clients' accounts and assets into any harm's way. If you're younger, you may not know this, but 2000 and 2008, we went through massive market downturns.
Yes.
And there was a lot of pain from that. Part of what we do is try to avoid that. Now, having said that, I want to say if you are in the accumulation phase of life, you're not anywhere even thinking about retirement, you have the gift of time, which in investing is the greatest thing you can have. Albert Einstein said the most powerful thing in the world is compound interest. And so with time horizon, you're able to invest and work with those certain ups and downs that are going to come. The US stock market and markets in general, over time, they're going to go up. As a younger investor, you need that growth.
Right.
You really do. Because it really has to do with where you are in your life and what you're doing and what your priorities are as to how you should best invest your money. And I guess we recognize that. I think that's maybe, we're talking about what makes us different. A lot of investment advisors, their belief is that, they're going to have these portfolios no matter what, whether you're 26 or 66. We think that's a bad idea. At the end of the day there, Rebecca, and I use this word so much, but priorities.
Yeah.
What do you want your money to do for you? It's only as good as the peace of mind that you have with it, and that you're doing the things that are meaningful to you.
What information should stylists think about when they're meeting with a financial advisor? Are there some standard things for them to think about?
Yeah. You need to do your homework. How do you do your homework? Well, first, if you get a referral from somebody you trust and know and all that, that's obviously pretty optimal. But let's say that's not available to you. The way you check out any financial advisor, it's called broker check. If you are securities licensed, you are part of what's called FINRA, Financial Investment and Regulatory Authority. So you can go online right now and go to broker check, and you can type the person's name in there and find out all about them. You're doing due diligence.
Yeah.
If you're going to hire an advisor.
Well, so then how does an advisor get paid?
So different advisors get paid different ways. There's what we call the broker-dealer channel, which is a commission-based channel. That's kind of the old school. The new school is more of the registered investment advisor like we are. It's called fee-based. A fee-based advisor is they charge some percentage of assets under management. If I'm managing somebody's account and there's $150,000 in there, we're going to bill through the account. We're going to bill for, in our case, it's 1% annual. You'll see there's advisors and advisories that charge more than that. You don't see many that would charge less than 1%. But one of the things that comes with ours, what we do is any financial planning that a client wants to have done and so forth, that's baked into our fees. So they don't have to pay for that kind of planning.
Are you a fiduciary?
That's a good question, and that's nowadays that's on their mind. A fiduciary should have no conflicts of interest with their client. If they do, they need to discuss that extensively with that client, make sure everybody's on the same page. So that's one. The second thing is very simply have the client's best interest always ahead of their interest.
What are the investment benchmarks that you use?
Investment benchmarks are used throughout the industry. So if we have a more growth portfolio that's got more equities and growth assets in it, we're going to use the S&P 500 index. That would be the kind of the benchmark. How are we doing against that? If it's a much more conservative portfolio that has a lot more fixed income and bonds, we'd use the Bloomberg Barclays bond aggregate index. And all that means is it takes all the bonds in the US that are, either A and above as far as their ratings. Again, those are just very common, and that's what we would typically use.
So what about asset allocation?
Very important for anybody's portfolio. And again, priorities are going to drive that. In a more of a growth with a longer time horizon type portfolio. And boy, this is going to sound, it's kind of boring, but a diversified portfolio. Yes. You want US, you want large cap, you want some medium cap, you want some small cap. Mm-hmm. You should have some exposure to international stocks, whether that's developed world like Europe or Japan, or whether it's emerging markets. Again, if it's a long-term hold, your portfolio, you want to have some diversification and you want to have really some of all of it.
And I wonder, is socially conscious investing becoming is that coming forward more? Are people thinking about that, asking about that?
Yes, and it's something that we've been involved in for quite some time. But I'll say this, if you want to invest in particularly environmental and climate change solutions, which that's what I tend to focus on. Again, you're going to need to do a little due diligence, or your advisor is, because they're not all created equal. There's a term called greenwashing. A company will come out with a ESG, climate portfolio, and you dig down into it and you find, they've only got 20% exposure to what we are looking for. If your kind of heart's into that, you want to invest that way, you want to make sure that your money's going where you think it is.
I'm wondering how people might be able to get a hold of you should they wish to.
The easiest thing, where all of where you can sign up for the newsletter, you can find all of our contact information, is www.secureretire.com. It's an easy one.
Hopefully you found that helpful. Please share, comment, and let us know what you thought and what you found helpful. We'd really appreciate that. So thank you. Thank you for your time, Jeff. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.